Hello, crafty friends. This is the Paper Chef here. In today's Brother Scan and Cut Tips and Tricks tutorial, I'm going to show you how to take a file from your machine, transfer it over to Canvas Workspace, where you can edit it, and then send it back to your machine, where you can cut it and draw it. This is going to be really fun because you're going to get to see all the different parts, both from the software side of things and from how to cut and draw. Now we're going to start out using the browser-based version of Canvas Workspace, because that's where, when we take files from our machine, that's where they end up. And then I'm going to show you how to take it from there and get that file into the Canvas Workspace for the PC version, where you can do even more to it, such as welding the fonts together and accessing fonts from your computer. So altogether, we'll be making two different projects, and I have a couple examples to show you. We're going to be making the little box, which you may recognize from when you first open your machine. It was called a welcome project, and I have a video on that. If you haven't done your welcome project where you made a big box like this and you did some drawing, then go ahead and check that video out. We're going to be resizing this box, personalizing this box, and then cutting and drawing. And then we're going to be working with tags, where I show you how to get your tags, how to personalize those tags, and how to create an offset, meaning an extra layer to make the tags even more fun. I hope you can use whatever you learn for projects you have coming up, and because who doesn't like something personalized, right? Now, before we get into the tutorial, the software tutorial itself, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. My YouTube channel has just reached 28,000 subscribers. So I really appreciate all of you for being here. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you will subscribe. I have a lot of tutorials on the Brother Scan and Cut, how to use Stampin' Up! Products, how to create paper pumpkin kits, and do a lot of paper crafting in general for craft fairs and for gift giving. So that's what my channel is all about, paper crafting. So thank you for being here. Let's get started. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Now I would like to show you how to get this graphic to the software on your computer. So let's start at the beginning. I'm going to go to the home button. I'm not even going to save that. We're just going to show you where that file is. So you have built-in patterns that are on your machine, and in this case I'm using STX 125, or you could be using a 125E or many different models, and different machines come with different pattern collections. I'm going to click on my pattern collection, and I want to go to the second icon. Click here, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and that's where my 3D boxes are. You may recall this from being part of the welcome project. This little guy is what we made with the big paper that came with the machine. It was a blue color paper. Okay, we're going to click on that, and now we're going to, this one already has a little bit of a drawing on it. We want the second one that doesn't have any writing on it. So the file that we're going to be transferring is AR-Q102. Then we're going to click set and first put it on the mat. Now that we have it, we can transfer this to our computer. So we're going to click on save, and then your choices are: do you want to save it to this machine? That's the picture of this machine here. Do you want to save it on via USB or thumb drive? And this is direct connection, but I'm going to save it wirelessly because that's the easiest way to save it. So we're going to click on this one, and what that's saying is it's going to save to Canvas Workspace. That's what that option is doing. It's using the wireless connection on this computer. It is transferring to my software using the same name that I've registered. So this machine's called Paper Chef, and the account that I'm using up there is called Paper Chef. So now let's go ahead and go to our computer, and we'll see you there. Right now I'm using the web-based version of Canvas Workspace. To access this version, go to any web browser and type in canvasworkspace.brother.com. I'm using Google Chrome browser. So after you're in your account and you've logged in, you're going to see your username and it says Papered Chef here. So now when I go to this little icon up here, Canvas Workspace, and I go to my projects, you can see that the latest project is something that I just sent over from my machine. So now we can go ahead and edit that project. And we can edit it easier in many ways while we're here inside of Canvas Workspace than we can on the machine itself. And for the main reason being that we have a larger screen size. Now in this case, I'm going to personalize this little treat box. I want it by putting a name on it. Okay, so first of all, I think it's easier when you personalize something if you rotate it so that our eyes are looking at it instead of at an angle, we can look at it straight. So the first thing you want to do, and just first of all, make sure that you select everything. I'm just dragging a selection around it all with my mouse, and I'm going to make sure that it's all grouped. And it looks grouped to me because when I made the selection, everything was selected. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go up to here to the properties, where it says show properties. And we're going to go ahead and inside this angle area, we're going to go ahead and type in 45 degrees. So hit 45 degree and enter. Okay, so now we have our little box and it's right side up. So that makes it much easier to personalize. Now before we decide how big to write something, we're going to make sure the box is the size we want it. Now this was a great size box when I used it for the welcome project, and it was a nice big box. But in this case, my designer series paper I'm going to be cutting this on is only a 6-inch piece of paper. So I'm going to need to make this box smaller than the 6-inch area on the mat. So I'm going to go ahead and select this box, and I'm going to go ahead and make it 5.5 inches. That's 5.5 inches. And when you click 5.5 and you click enter, it's going to also change. So this is going to change both the height and the width because the maintain aspect ratio button is checked off. So now we have that, and now we're going to go ahead and zoom in so we can see our screen better. We can close the properties box for now. So what we want to do is we want to type some text right here on the box, just on one side of the box. We're going to click on the text, and you're going to notice something. If you've been using a different version of Canvas Workspace, which I'll show you later on in this tutorial, you're going to notice that there's not a whole lot of fonts to choose from. But one thing that's really nice about Canvas Workspace is there are more fonts than there are built into the machine. So we do have more choices than we have on the machine itself, but not as many as we have in another version of Canvas Workspace, which I'll get to later. I'm going to go ahead and choose this font here. I like it. There is a number here, but you might not have it on your particular machine, but that's okay. You can still personalize your box. It is FO-W012 Cairo. Okay, I'm clicking on that, and I'm going to go over here. Now, I like to go ahead and type it, then I'll slide it into the area where I want it. So I'm typing my husband's name. I'm going to click on Mike. Okay, and we're going to click away. And now we get this little box. So this little box is what we can use to resize it. So we can either resize it this way, which I like to do, and using the corner, and I like to just hold the shift key on my keyboard. Or you can also go up here to properties and resize it exactly. So let's go ahead and resize it exactly by making it 2 inches across and hit enter. Okay, and we'll see if that's big enough. No, I think it needs to be smaller. So let's go. See what I'm doing? I'm just typing in the different sizes. So let's say we can say if 2 inches was too big, click on the properties and maybe 1.5. Okay, and let's see if that might be good. And we could somewhere in between would also be good. Now, first, what I want to do is sort of center this and in relationship to the box. So let's first do that before I tell you about drawing. So let's go ahead and select everything. So we've selected both the text that we're drawing, and we're selecting the box itself. And we're going to click on edit, and we're going to click on align, and center. Okay, you might not see much of a difference, but now we have the box aligned with the text. Now, this time you're going to click away, and we're going to click on just the word Mike. This is a very important step because we want this part to be, we want to use the pen tool to draw this and fill in the text color, or fill in the color of whatever pen I put in the machine. So we're going to click on Properties, Show Properties. It's very important to set this word to drawing line. And another option, you want to say fill. You want to fill the area with the pen. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to fill this in. Okay, now the rest of the box, of course, we don't want to draw the rest of the box. We want to cut out the rest of the box. So we want to draw this word, but we're going to click over here. We want to make sure that this is set to just cutting. We want to cut that part, but we want to draw the part here. Now, you may notice, I'm going to click. You may notice the score lines. I tend to remove the score lines. I like to just, in this kind of box, you can actually just fold this up yourself. You don't really even need score lines, but the score lines in Brother they use dashes. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and leave them there. But if you want to remove them, that's okay. And if you want to score with a different type of tool, you can. But the way that Brother scores is by dash lines. All right, the last step is if we want to rotate this back, I think it fits more efficiently in the mat, on the mat when it's rotated. So let's go ahead and group these two together. So click on the text and the outer box and go to Edit, and we're going to click on Group. Okay, the group option means that when we move part of it, it moves together. So now we're going to go over here, put it on the mat, put it up in the corner. Now you're going to see that it's taking up a lot of room here. Let me zoom out. Now we only have a 6-inch piece of paper, so this is taking up 8 inches of room because it's not rotated. So when you rotate it, it doesn't take up as much room on the mat. So we'll go ahead and rotate it. We're going to go to Properties. And remember, we rotated it 45 degrees to get it to go this way. We can just do -45 and make it go back the way we started. So there we go. We're back. And we're going to lay it up here in the corner, drag it up. You can't go out of these red lines. This is your boundary. Okay, great. So now we're going to go ahead and you should save your boxes. You should save your projects. Go ahead and give this a name. So I was going to call it curvy box. I'm just going to call it box for now. Box. And then you can to save it, you're going to click on overwrite this project. So now it just says overwrite this project. And now we just say save is complete. Now the next step is we're going to download it to our machine where we can cut it and draw it. So click on download. And it says some elements are going to be removed due to their small size. So we'll just click OK. It might remove the score lines if they're too small. It's okay. It removes very small elements. We're going to go ahead and click on Scan and Cut Transfer because we're going to transfer it back to the machine that's connected. So we're going to click Scan and Cut Transfer. It's going to wirelessly transfer this. And it's going to say the Scan and Cut Transfer is ready, and you click Close. Okay, now we'll see you at the machine for the next step. We are back at our machine. We're going to retrieve the file that is personalized from our Scan and Cut. So go click on Home button again, and we're going to go ahead and delete all patterns. So we want to we're going to go to Retrieve Data. And again, we're wirelessly connected here. So we're going to retrieve the data, and we're going to retrieve it from Canvas Workspace. This option here. The last file you worked on is the one that's going to retrieve. So there it is. It's called Mike. Now we have a cutting and drawing lines. Now the scoring lines disappeared, I think because they were too small, but it's okay because I don't like to use the scoring lines anyway. And if you do want to use them, move this whole box to a different part of the mat, or enlarge your box, and it probably won't make them disappear. I'm not sure why the middle ones would have disappeared because they weren't actually small, but it doesn't matter because we don't need them. So let's go ahead and we're going to click on OK. So everything's on this top corner of the mat, and we're going to click on, what I like to do when you have to draw and cut something, I like to click on draw first. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our pen holder. This is just the one that came with the machine. And there are two little colors of pens that came with my machine. I'm going to go ahead and use the black pen and take the cap off. I'm going to load it in there, just like that. Drop it in there. Close this and put this little lid up there to hold it. So now I'll lay that there for a second so you can see the whole process. I need to load the designer series paper, etc. So we're gonna in a second. I'm just going to hit draw and let it start drawing. But let's show you the whole process. So over here, my mat is loaded already. I want to put the designer series paper up in this corner, and I'm just going to use some. I've already used gray granite for my first box. I'm going to use smoky slate. I'm just using some designer series paper that I thought went well with that little crown design on the box. So we're going to put that up here at the top. See, it's just, like I said, it's a 6x6 paper, so if you can see that, I'm just going to go ahead and put that right on the top left corner of my mat. You can cut on any region of the mat you want, but make sure you put the paper where your design is. Okay, give it a rub, and it's on there. Now you're going to take the blade holder out, and you're going to put the pen holder in. I'm just going to drop it right in there. Close that. And now I'm going to, you don't see it, but I'm going to hit start just to let you see that part. Now what it's saying is, on my screen, it's saying to turn the lever, and I'll go ahead and move the machine back up. So you can see this. It's telling me to turn the lever to lever 2. Whenever you're drawing on your machine, it wants you to use lever 2 because it's going to move the scanning plate up. So the lever, you change it. This is in the STX machines. You change the lever up here, but you're changing it to lever 2. See that? It's set on lever 1 when you're scanning, but when you're drawing, you're going to move it up to lever 2. Okay, now that I've shown you that, I don't need to show it to you later, but now we're going to just show you back at the screen again what that prompt that it was asking me. So here's why I changed it to lever 2. I'm glad it reminded me of these things because sometimes you forget. So we're going to go ahead and click OK. We already had it set to draw. Now we're going to just click start and it will draw. Okay, let's see how long, 1 minute it will take. It's finished drawing. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, great. The personalization is working. Let me focus in on that. So here it's done drawing. Now I'm going to move this over and show you. Now we're just going to change it to cut, and we're going to cut out the box. Okay, focus. There we go. Click OK. Now we want to click on cut. So we're going to change it to cut. And we're going to click start. But remember, we have to put the cutting blade in there. So we're going to click on. We're going to remove this tool. Make sure you put your cap back on there so it doesn't dry out. Close that. So now we want to replace this with the cutting blade. Put the cutting blade in there. It's auto blade, so it should know what blade depth to use. Now also remember to change your lever back to 1 because you're cutting now. So I'm just going to switch the lever back to 1 on my machine. Okay, click start. So what it's doing is it's determining, it's an auto blade, so it's determining what blade depth it needs to use. And it's going to go ahead and cut it. It will take 1 minute. It's finished cutting. We click OK. And we can go ahead and unload the mat at this point. If you're going to be making a lot of these, if you're doing party favors, at this point you could duplicate that and get 4 out of 1 on the mat. You could easily get 4 of these on the mat. If you're doing party favors, if they say something like, thank you for coming, and you write the baby's name or something. If you were doing something like that, you could print a lot of these at once, or I shouldn't say print, but cut a lot of these at once. Cut and draw. What I'm doing now is I'm just showing you how to get this off of the mat. But if you are just doing one, then you're all done. And you could save this to your machine, or you just save it to Canvas Workspace, but then you can reuse your projects. Now, like I said, I don't like to use the scoring lines on these types of boxes, but that's okay. And I don't think I needed them, but they did disappear, which is kind of funny when we moved it over. I'm just going to go ahead and fold it like this a little bit. I'm just showing you how to assemble now. This little box, this little curvy box. I'm just folding it a little bit. And then we're going to squeeze that. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to push this down so that this side is there first. I like to load it before I shut the other side. So I need to load it with some candy. And so at the end of this video, we'll show you what's inside that. But I'm going to put my little candy treats in there. So now you have a cute little party favor box or a personalized box for somebody. Load it up, and then you're going to just push down, and you can close it like that. But I'm going to go ahead and put something in it. Okay? Super cute little box. And I didn't realize how nice it matches the machine as well. So now we're going to see you in the next section where we take something else from our machine and we send it to Canvas Workspace. On your actual machine, your ScanNCut, there are several tags that are built in to the pattern collection. I don't like the way that the holes are super huge, and also I like to personalize these. So for several reasons, I like to send these to my machine, work with them, and then send them back before I cut them. So go ahead and click on the home button. I'm going to show you where I got that tag. You're going to see in your home button of your machine, on your home screen, I shouldn't say home button. Click the home button, go to the home screen. You're going to see pattern and scan, and click on pattern. And you're going to click on the second option, which is the icons. And we're going to go down here to the one with the tag. It looks like a little tag and a gift. Click on that one. Or these are actually tags and frames. We're going to click on the third one. I like this tag the best. AR-K003. You learned how to make your own tags in my courses, hopefully, if you took my courses on Udemy. Okay, let's see. We're not going to worry about the size right now, actually. Just see how big that hole is what I'm talking about. Click OK. And click Set. So now what we're going to do is we're going to save this tag to our Canvas Workspace software. Click on Save. Click on this one, Canvas Workspace. And we will see you at the computer, where we will retrieve this and work with this tag. Thank you. I'm now inside of Canvas Workspace, the web-based version. I'm still logged in. Go ahead and click on the Canvas Workspace icon, top left. And what I want to do is find the project that I just saved from my machine. So I'm going to go to My Projects. And we're going to go ahead and edit this tag. This is the tag that we just transferred over. So the first thing I mentioned before is how big this hole is. I'm not sure what they were thinking when they designed this tag. But let's go ahead and zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. We're going to click on the tag itself, and we're going to go up here to Edit, and we're going to ungroup, because we want the whole of the tag to be, we want to work with that separately. So click away and then click on just this part of the tag. And what I like to do is go to Edit, and I like to send that to the back. Meaning, what that does is it takes this part and it puts that in the back layer. So that way I can select this circle. The circle will be on the top then, and this part will be in the back. Now we're going to go up to the properties, show properties. And you can see here, let's go ahead and move this over, that it's 0.39 or about 4/10 of an inch. That is way too big. So I'm going to go ahead and make it 0.15. That's how big the hole needs to be, in my opinion, for the kind of ribbon I'm putting. And go ahead and keep the maintain aspect ratio on there checked off. So it's 0.15. So now you're going to say, well, wow, the hole is not centered anymore, which is fine. That's why we have our tools. You can click on it and you can try to center it yourself using your mouse, but I tend to then select everything with my mouse like this. I'm selecting both the outer tag and the inner hole. And what I tend to do from when I center is I go up to edit and I just use the align center option. So now these two are aligned. And we could go ahead and group those together, but let's not do that just yet. So what I like to do before I go ahead and personalize this tag is I like to duplicate the tag in a way so that I have an outer edge or an outer border on this tag. It's just another layer. It's just something fun to do. So go up here to edit, and we're going to click on this option here called create offset line. Now it's asking there's different options. It's asking how big do you want the offset line. So we can go all the way down to 0.04 inches, which is what I tend to use on my machine when I'm outlining stamped images and such. 0.8 looks okay, but this is going to be such a big tag. It's going to be a pretty big tag. So I can go up to, say, 0.12 is fine, or 0.16. I can make a nice big border around my tag. I'm going to go with 0.12. And I'm going to have the next tag be outwards, and it's going to be rounded, meaning it's not going to be jagged. It's going to be a rounded extra shape. And it's asking, what do you want to do with the original line? I'm going to leave it as is because you're going to see I need the original line as is because I'm going to cut that out too. So click OK. If we were to cut this now, we'd end up with a nice little border shape around the outside because both of these are cutting lines. So I need to move the back one away from the front one. But let's do a couple more things. I don't need this extra little circle, the extra offset line, because I'm not, you could use that as an extra reinforcement for your tag, but I don't need that. I want this hole to be cut through both of these. I want it to be cut in the same place. So what I need to do for a moment is I'm going to take this, see, I need to make sure that this one, I'm going to send this to the back for a moment. I'm going to go up to edit and I'm going to send it to the back. And what I want to do is, okay, make sure that I have two of these. I'm going to duplicate this circle because I want this to be used with both the back tag and the front tag and in the same exact spot. So I'm going to go ahead to edit and I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. That's this button here. So now I'm going to put this, I'm going to take one of the, I'm going to put it right on top of this hole. Just exactly the same. You might not be able to see that, but if I zoom in, let me close this properties for a second. I'm going to zoom in and just put that hole exactly where the back hole is. So there are two holes. They're lined up on top of each other. I'm going to take one of those, hold the shift key, select the tag in the back, and I'm just going to, now that they're both selected, I'm going to move those off to the side. And we have something that I can group now and cut out with designer series paper. And then this one I can group and cut out with cardstock. And now the holes will be perfectly aligned and I'll have a nice outer border. So let's go ahead and group these two. Go up to edit and group. So now we have a tag that's going to be nice. It's going to be cut in designer series paper. It's a different shape. Put it over there. This shape, I better group these two. Select both of these. Go ahead and go to edit, group. This one I'm going to be cutting and drawing on cardstock. So let's zoom back out. And what do I want to cut and draw? Let's put one of the logos from the machine. Now this is actually on our machine, but this is one of those that's on both the machine and the software. And I like to use the happy birthday logo. We're going to click on it, the logos, and find these are just pieces of font or text that have been welded already for us, which is nice. I tend to use these because they're nice and I like them. They're very useful. I'm selecting the happy birthday one. Okay, you can use your mouse to resize it. I'm just resizing it from the corner. Put it onto the tag, or you can go up to the properties and see, I'll make it 2 inches, about 2 inches wide. When you click 2 inches, then again, the proportion stays in proportion. Okay, click away. I'm going to go ahead and send this tag to the back. I'm going to take this and go edit, order, send to back. That way I can work with just this and put some other text up here or down here. So let's go ahead and put I'm going to get out of the logo one and go to text. I'm going to go ahead and put text underneath there. Same font we used earlier. It's the fourth one up from the bottom. Double click to get the text box. I'm going to go over here and double click and write something. I'm going to go ahead and write Mike again. And you can also resize it. You can resize it from the corner, or you can resize it with your mouse. Now I did put these letters a little bit closer together earlier, but I think I'm just going to leave them like they are. Now the only thing we have to remember now is we can go ahead and center all these items in relationship to each other. I'm going to select all three items, edit, align, center. What we do need to remember is to make this a drawing. We need to make this a drawing and then this a drawing, the happy birthday. And again, why is that tag? We're going to move the tag to the back. Sometimes it somehow jumps forward. Go ahead and put the tag to the back. It's just easier than to select this and this item. We'll go ahead and select the word Mike. We're going to click on properties. And we're going to set that to a drawing line. And this time we don't need to fill it. We'll just draw it. Okay, we just draw the letters. And we can leave that open. And then we're going to click on the happy birthday and make sure that's set to drawing line. So we want to draw this and draw this. And then for the tag itself, we're going to click on the tag and we're going to select cutting line. Okay, so we have cutting line for the tag, drawing line. Okay, good. Let's go over here and make sure this one's a cutting line. Cutting line for this tag. Okay, so there's no confusing. If you select cutting and drawing, it'll still cut most of the time. But if you select cut, it'll definitely only cut. And this one will only draw, and that's fine. That's what we want. Okay, we're going to save this project so we can say tag. I think I already have one called tag, but let's go ahead and save it. Yep. Overwrite this project. It's fine. And I can move these around once they get to the machine itself. So we're going to go ahead and send this to the machine. Download. Scan and cut transfer. And we'll see you at the machine. Now we're back at the machine, and you can see how we've formed this tag once we open up the new one that we've edited on our computer. So let's go ahead and click on the home button. And now we're going to click on retrieve data. We're going to retrieve it from Canvas Workspace. It's finished drawing. We're going to click OK and do the cutting, but let me go ahead and show you that. So you can see where we're at. See, it did the drawing. Only took a minute. Those I want it to be hollow and not solid. You can always take your markers and color them in if you want them to be different colors. Click OK. And go ahead and take that pen out. Put the cap on there. I'm going to remember to move that lever down. Back to lever 1. Put the blade in. Select cut. Lower the lever. And I'm going to cut this out in cardstock. This isn't even going to take a whole minute, so I'm just going to let the camera keep on rolling while I grab my designer series paper that I'll be putting on the other side. So we'll just keep that rolling. It's doing the auto blade test. And while it's doing that, I'm just getting a piece of designer series paper for the back of that tag. Okay, I think I do like the hearts, but I think I'm going to go with, this piece here, because this piece here has nice colors for the back, but it also has a nice little outline for the other side. So I think I'm going to go with that piece here. Now let's show you how this looks. Okay, so I'm going to pull the white. Let me go ahead and focus that. Pull the white cardstock. This is just Stampin' Up. It's called thick basic white cardstock. That's what this is, by Stampin' Up. It's good for drawing. The ink doesn't run, and it's a good product. I'm going to put that there. Isn't that a nice size hole? It's a much better size hole than the one that comes on the machine. Now, we're going to go ahead and make the outer outline of the tag. We're going to put the designer series paper here. And we're going to go ahead and retrieve that file. So we need to retrieve the file again, but I don't want to have to walk back to the computer, send it back over. So that's why it's nice to send over many parts at once. We're going to click on the home button, go ahead and delete all patterns. Okay, we're going to click on retrieve data. Now, I didn't go back to the computer. You saw my camera was rolling. Look, it's still there. The last thing you sent to this machine is still there. There's the part we want to cut out with designer series paper. Good thing we grouped it, right? So the whole doesn't move. This time we need to delete all these items over here. So we've already done this part. We've already done the whole part we need to do in cardstock. Delete, delete. Okay, now we're left with just the part I want to cut out with designer series paper. And we have it. So we click cut. That's just a nice little trick for you. Not to have to run around, move things, move your files back and forth all the time. Stay in one place, delete what you don't need, cut or draw, then retrieve the rest of the file. And what we're going to do is use that to layer this tag. Okay, that was quick. We click OK, and we now can unload the mat. We can pull this designer series paper from the mat. You can use your little spatula because this is thinner paper. This just adds a little bit of color to your tag. So I wanted the holes to be the same. You could have left that when we did the offset line. This is an offset line. When we did the offset line, you could have actually kept that little inner circle and made a little reinforcement for your tag. But as it stands, I'm just doing this. I'm layering my tag. And you see how the holes line up nicely. Okay, and you have a couple options for this. You could layer it this way as well. And that's cute too. But I kind of I think that's just a little more masculine, but then this has this sort of birthday on that side, and it still says birthday. So I'll put a little ribbon on that, and then we're good to go. Can we use it as a gift? Okay, put that. I'm just kind of measuring my ribbon across, so it's a little more than 12 inches. I'm just using pale papaya, and I'm not going to glue this one together. The last one I did glue together, but I thought it would be more fun to just sort of roll with it. It doesn't need to, they don't all need to be glued together, both layers. You can if you want, and I'll show you an example of both at the end. Because when you don't glue them together, then it's a little more interactive tag because the tags sort of move, say like that. So that's just another option. And the reason I left the string really long is to tie it on a gift. Okay, another personalized item. Thank you. And then there are our tags. So this one's going to be, we're going to use cardstock. We're going to cut this and draw it in cardstock. This one is designer series paper. So watch what I do to this. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. We're going to go to edit, delete. And there's a reason for it. We'll get back to that. I don't want to have to walk back to the computer each time, but we'll get that back easily enough. We want to draw first. So I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of white cardstock on there. Here's one that I used earlier, so I'm just going to flip it around. Right, I'm just going to flip it around. I'm going to put this on my mat. And I don't need to show you the drawing, so the way that you switch the cutting blade to the drawing blade, because we showed you that earlier, but I'm going to do that quickly. And I'm going to click on draw, and it's going to draw those two. Go ahead and put the little cap on there. Okay, we click OK. We're going to select draw. Now you don't have to wait for this to happen. When I get back, I'll show you what that looks like. So it'll take 1 minute. Oh yeah, remember to change the lever. Lever 2, start. It's finished drawing. We're going to click OK and do the cutting, but let me go ahead and show you that. So you can see where we're at. See, it did the drawing. Only took a minute. Those I wanted to be hollow and not solid. You can always take your markers and color them in if you want them to be different colors. Click OK. And go ahead and take that pen out the cap on there. I'm going to remember to move that lever down, back to lever 1. Put the blade in, select cut, lower the lever, and I'm going to cut this out in cardstock. This isn't even going to take a whole minute, so I'm just going to let the camera keep on rolling while I grab my designer series paper that I'll be putting on the other side. So we'll just keep that rolling. It's doing the auto blade test. And while it's doing that, I'm just getting a piece of designer series paper for the back of that tag. Okay, I think I do like the hearts, but I think I'm gonna go with, I think I'm gonna go with this piece here, because this piece here has nice colors for the back, but it also has a nice little outline for the other side. So I think I'm gonna go with that piece here. Now let's show you how this looks. Okay, so I'm going to pull the white, let me go ahead and focus that. Pull the white cardstock. This is just Stampin' Up. It's called Thick Basic White Cardstock. That's what this is, by Stampin' Up. It's good for drawing. The ink doesn't run, and it's a good product. I'm going to put that there. Isn't that a nice size hole? It's a much better size hole than the one that comes on the machine. Now, we're going to go ahead and make the outer outline of the tag. We're going to put the designer series paper here. And we're going to go ahead and retrieve that file. So we need to retrieve the file again, but I don't want to have to walk back to the computer, send it back over. So that's why it's nice to send over many parts at once. We're going to click on the home button, go ahead and delete all patterns. Okay, we're going to click on retrieve data. Now, I didn't go back to the computer. You saw my camera was rolling. Look, it's still there. The last thing you sent to this machine is still there. There's the part we want to cut out with designer series paper. Good thing we grouped it, right? So the hole doesn't move. This time we need to delete all these items over here. So we've already done this part. We've already done the whole part we need to do in cardstock. Delete, delete. Okay, now we're left with just the part I want to cut out with designer series paper. And we have it. So we click cut. That's just a nice little trick for you. Not to have to run around, move things, move your files back and forth all the time. Stay in one place, delete what you don't need, cut or draw, then retrieve the rest of the file. And what we're going to do is use that to layer this tag. Okay, that was quick. We click OK, and we now can unload the mat. We can pull this designer series paper from the mat. You can use your little spatula because this is thinner paper. This just adds a little bit of color to your tag. So I wanted the holes to be the same. You could have left that, when we did the offset line, this is an offset line. When we did the offset line, you could have actually kept that little inner circle and made a little reinforcement for your tag. But as it stands, I'm just doing this. I'm layering my tag. And you see how the holes line up nicely. Okay, and you have a couple options for this. You could layer it this way as well. And that's cute too. But I kind of I think that's just a little more masculine, but then this has this sort of birthday on that side, and it still says birthday. So I'll put a little ribbon on that, and then we're good to go. Can we use it as a gift? Okay, put that, I'm just kind of measuring my ribbon across. So it's a little more than 12 inches. I'm just using pale papaya. And I'm not going to glue this one together. The last one I did glue together, but I thought it would be more fun to just sort of roll with it. It doesn't need to, they don't all need to be glued together, both layers. You can if you want, and I'll show you an example of both at the end. Because when you don't glue them together, then it's a little more interactive tag because the tags sort of move, say like that. So that's just another option. And the reason I left the string really long is to tie it on a gift. Okay, another personalized item. Thank you. You may be wondering why up to this point I've been using the web-based version of Canvas Workspace that we access through our browser, canvasworkspace.brother.com. And that is because when you send a file from your machine to Canvas Workspace to be edited, it goes into this version, the web-based version. I'm going to go ahead and open up that file that we recently transferred and edited and just zoom in for a moment. And you saw that we were able to do a lot of things in this web-based version. We were able to use the logos, add text, do offset lines, and a lot of fun things. But what you can't do is you can't access the fonts on your computer. We were able to type this one and use the text, but we were limited on these few fonts that were built into the web-based version. So if I go ahead and delete that, and now we send this to our computer-based version, then we can do a lot more with this. We're going to go to the download button. Now we're not transferring it to our machine this time. We're going to click download to the PC. So in other words, we're saving this file locally. And it has the name tag FCM file. Okay, so that's a local file on our computer. Now I'm going to open up Canvas Workspace for the PC. Okay, I already had it loaded, and so it was easy and quick to open. This is the version that is installed on my computer. So just so you know which version I'm using in case you want to compare, I'm going to go to the Help menu, About Brother Canvas Workspace, and I'm using version 2.6.0 to show you this part. So what we want to do, we're going to click OK. We're going to go ahead and open the file. Just go say, and it's going to say Import from your computer. We're going to click on Import from your computer. And we're going to go to where I just downloaded the file. It's in my Downloads folder. So I'm going to go to my Downloads folder and click on Tag. That's where it downloaded to. And there's the tag that we want to work with. So let's go ahead and zoom in. And we're going to still put a personalized word here. But instead, we're going to use the fonts built into our computers. Click on the text tool and look at all of these options now. Just so many more options. All of these fonts that are built in. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll down to a font called Mrs. And I'm going to go ahead and type Mike again. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in for you. And you can see how the letters overlap. And that wouldn't be good for trying to draw or cut or anything. So we want to definitely weld these letters together. So just go to Edit, Process Overlap, and Weld. Okay, and it's going to weld those letters together. Easy to draw. I'm going to put that back on the tag. And again, we're going to draw it. So just like before, we have to say what we want to draw and what we want to cut. So I'm going to leave these open too. I'm not going to go ahead and close the letters. I'm going to go ahead and draw them open, meaning I don't want to fill them. I'm just going to draw the outline. So we're going to set that to draw. We'll set that to draw. It's already set. We'll set that to cut. See the little cut? Looks like a little blade or scalpel. Make sure that's set to cut. And we're going to go ahead and you can save this to your machine if you want. And this time you want to save it to your computer. I'm just going to call it tag again. Hopefully I don't have anything else with that exact name. Okay, so that is how to access the fonts on your computer. You need to use the Canvas Workspace built-in. And now when you're all done, you're just going to go up to File, Export Transfer FCM File, Transfer FCM File via the internet, and then we retrieve that and cut that on our machine. See you at the machine. In this tutorial, you learned how to take files from your machine and transfer them to Canvas Workspace online, like we did for these two little treat boxes. I'm going to go ahead and show you what's inside of these boxes, just so you get an idea. Now we used 5.5 wide when we changed the width, and you were able to fit 2 Reese's peanut butter cups in that box. And this little box, and again, these are great for party favors and things. You can fit the mini Whoppers and a Heath bar. Okay, so there's lots of room in there. Now these are the tags we created. Again, we went from the machine, just for this tag shape itself. We went from the machine to Canvas Workspace. I showed you how to make the hole much smaller and how to create an offset line. So that's what you did here. How to personalize with text. And this one I glued this tag onto this. Now for these two tags, we did this similar thing, except I didn't glue it together. But you see how it's nice to have the holes line up, and then it's just more interactive. I was going to put this on the gift and show you, but I haven't got that far yet. And then you could also color the insides of these. Now for this one, I showed you not just how to use Canvas Workspace, the online version, but we used Canvas Workspace for the PC or the downloadable version, and then we were able to access the fonts on our computer, which this font is called Mrs. Font, and you're able to weld the fonts together and do much more with those font options. And so that's a reason you'd want to transfer it to Canvas Workspace for your PC so that you can do more editing with it. Well, thank you. Enjoy trying this and personalizing your own tags, party favors, or treats. Thank you for watching. This is the Papered Chef.